Shabbat Shalom. I have to confess something, and I'm not proud of it, but I've told y'all before, I have a policy on not lying to y'all. So, about a week and a half ago, I want to say it was. It's hard to believe. So it's such a short time ago. Idan Alexander, who had been held hostage for 584 days, was freed. And I remember that day very specifically. It was a Monday. I remember because it was my day off. and I was here, actually, on my day off, but because I was dropping my daughter off. She goes to the day school. And I was driving up, and I saw the rows of chairs. Y'all know the rows of chairs because you drove in the same way I drove. We have those rows of chairs, you know, with the photos of all the hostages. And I saw Idan, and I wasn't, like, prepared to do this. I didn't pre-plan it, but I saw him, and I pulled over, and I took his photo down. And we always take the photos of the freed hostages down, but I guess I got to it first. It had just been so long, you know, since we actually got to take a photo down. And it had been even longer since anyone came home alive. It was a sweet moment, and it was a little bit of a bitter moment, and I really wanted to do it right away, so I did. I got back in my car, and then I left. Like I said, it's my day off. You know, Monday is the day I do my shopping, I do my errands, all my running around stuff. Got to pack it all into that one day. It's a Jewish clergy thing. We all have the same thing. So naturally, after being here at Beth Yeshua, I went to H-E-B. I got a lot of stuff to buy, you know, and I park the car, and I turn to my passenger seat to get my purse, and I see him just looking up at me with his little smile. Idan Alexander's face, and I had it on me. So I look at his face, and I look down, and I look up at the H-E-B sign, and I look back down at him, and it says, bring him home now. Israeli American, our sign said, the original one, and explained about October 7th, and it was all right there, and a plea to, bring them home. I'm looking down at him. I look back up at all the people, just a variety of people, going in and out of H-E-B. And I have to confess, my very first thought was, I should cover it up. I should put something on it, I should turn it over. I'm not proud of that thought, but it's true. It's the first thing I thought. Before I go in, I should, my first thought was, I should hide him. I should hide something that's so obvious. It's so Israel. It's so Jewish. I know the cost of replacing a smashed passenger window. It's not going to hit my deductible, so that's all out of pocket. It's all on me. But then I felt shame, actually, because Idan Alexander spent nearly 600 days hidden and covered up, and he was finally free. And I was going to hide him again because I was afraid of the chance of a few smashed windows. I turned it over in my mind, and I decided to leave him as he was, smiling up at me from the passenger seat. And I thought to myself as I locked the car, you know what? They smash him, they smash him. But that was a week and a half ago. And the world, our world, it's changed, even since then. Because on Wednesday night, a man went to a Jewish event at a Jewish museum, at an event for young diplomats put on by a Jewish organization, an event focused on delivering humanitarian aid and peace building. And he went there and he shot 2 young embassy workers. He didn't ask what country they represented. He just went there to try to kill Jewish people. And now 2 young people are gone. That is an event that is horrifying on several levels. It's horrifying because this is a young couple. They were in love, on the verge of getting engaged. He had a ring, Yaron Lishansky had. He was going to propose next week in Jerusalem. They were supposed to fly on Sunday, he and Sarah Milgram, his girlfriend. a young woman who I didn't personally know, but in the funny way the Jewish nonprofit world works, of course, we had friends in common. And these are two people who were not soldiers, and they didn't carry any weapons. They were devoted to peace and building peace. Gemilut chasadim, truly loving kindness for all people, was their mission. Their only crime was being in the crosshairs of someone who hates Jews. It was an event that was horrifying because of the immediate, and I mean immediate, response of so much of the world. All the equivocating and the justifying, and frankly, just the celebrating. Don't go to the comment section, I'm warning you, on posts, on social media, the news stories when they post, and people can comment on them. Don't look at the comments. People with a little laughing reaction, the heart love emoji. And the comments, I've read some comments. I read, the chicken's coming home to roost. That was nice. Sad, not sad, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. When you think killing others is normal without realizing you can also be killed. Kind of comes down to that though, right? Because so many people see this crime that was committed against us as justice. Justice. And for what? Well, didn't you hear? Didn't you hear? Because not even 2 days prior, we all learned, I'm sure you heard it, we all heard it, 14,000 babies, guys, in Gaza are going to die within 48 hours if no aid is let in. That is what the UN Undersecretary of Humanitarian Affairs said on BBC radio. It was instantly picked up by international news outlets. It was everywhere. MPs were talking about it on the floor of the UK House of Commons. It was blasted across social media. I saw it everywhere. I saw it on Facebook. I saw it on Instagram. I'm sure it was on TikTok if it was there. People were outraged. They were livid. Only one problem. It wasn't true. Well, you could say he just misrepresented the data set. I'm sorry. I grew up in rural Maryland. We don't use fancy words like that. We just say he lied. Because it turns out that 14,000 babies in 48 hours is what the UN said. But what they meant was, well, there may be 14,000 severe cases of acute malnutrition between April of this year and March of next year in children aged 6 months through 5 years old, if nothing changes. Oh, those are two very different things to say. Now, because it needs to be said, and this is important to say, 14,000 cases of malnutrition in such young children. That is terrible. It's terrible. That's a horrible thing. We should all do everything we can to ensure that doesn't happen, of course. But it's not the same thing as the original statement that a UN undersecretary said on international radio, 14,000 babies in 48 hours, if Israel doesn't change. Those are two different statements. It seems the UN realized their little flub, or they got caught, and they issued a clarification 24 hours later. But there's a reason that people say a lie can travel halfway across the world while the truth is still putting on its shoes. Because sure, yes, 24 hours after their false exaggeration, the UN clarified what they meant. Oh, well, we said this, but we really meant it would be a little... Sure, thanks. It's a small comfort to Sarah and Yaron, who were shot 36 hours after the BBC projected their lie. The blood libel heard around the world. And this monster who did this horrible act, afterwards he fled into the museum, and all the pandemonium, he actually huddled there with the other attendees. No one knew who he was. They thought he was just kind of a scared person running off the street. And he asked a woman who was there, "What building are we in?" And she said, "We're in a Jewish museum." And he asked her if she thought that's why it happened. And she said, I'm sure it was unrelated. I'm sure it was some horrible, random, violent crime. And he told her, "No, I did it. I did it for Gaza." The killer himself. He himself made the connection. He was on a mission to help Gaza, and the way he was going to do it was to kill Jews. It's the logical endpoint. It is literally globalizing the Intifada, the thing they've been shouting about. The killer, who was apprehended by police, online he actually posted a sort of manifesto. This is a while ago. It was titled, "Escalate for Gaza, Bring the War Home." Mission accomplished. There are no idiots more useful than the ones on college campuses and elsewhere, truly the epitome of Western privilege. While actual Gazans are suffering under Hamas oppression, these dolts stand around chanting, "There is only one solution, Intifada, revolution." This was always meant to be the result. And when we dare to sound the alarm on these statements and these chants, as we have been, if we dare sound the alarm saying that if you call for violence, then violence will happen, we get called the problem. Oh, those pesky Jews, always yapping about their right to live. Guilty. But it's kind of like my colleague, and a girl I actually went to school with, Rabbi Rachel Rubenstein, she pointed out, there was a New York Times article that just came out about this attack in DC. And it said, groups who monitor hate crimes say that the Hamas attack in 2023 and Israel's 19-month bombing campaign and aid blockade that the Gaza Health Ministry says has killed more than 50,000 people fuel tens of thousands of anti-Semitic incidents globally. What? She says, hatred for every other group is called for what it is. But she went on to say, only anti-Semitism is caused, not by anti-Semites, but by Jews. We had it coming. What a world. What a world. All of this does leave us in a pretty dark place. And I told you, I refuse to lie to you up here. But I also refuse to leave you at a dead end. I won't tell you what to do. And I can't tell you what I'm going to do. But I can tell you what I'm not going to do. And that's what I did a week and a half ago with Idan Alexander's poster in my car. I didn't do it then, and I'm not going to do it now. I'm not going to hide. I'm not going to change who I am. I won't let them change who I am, the equivocators and the hand-wringers and the buried heads in the sand and the outright Jew haters. They can't change my love of Judaism. Being Jewish is my air, it's my water. To deny my Judaism would be to leave me gasping, leave me wanting. And they want us to hate ourselves as they hate us. Don't give them that easy victory. Don't change. They can't change my love of Jewish community. I have always, since I was a little kid growing up in rural Maryland, I've always loved being in shul. I've always loved coming together with my people. My Jewish people, my courageous Jewish people, and all the very brave non-Jewish people who care for us, the ones in our families and the ones who work in our buildings. It's no small thing. I don't think we thank them enough for that. I love being here with you. I love doing Jewish with Jewish folks, and I will continue to walk through these doors every day, even my day off, because my kids go to Jewish school. And you know, if you're a Jewish parent, in this day and age, to provide your child with a Jewish education and community means sending them to school, whether twice a week or every day, under armed guard. And that's not something most people worry about, not something most people have to do. But we do it because we have to and because it's worth it. Being in community is worth it. And those who hate us, they want to change that about us. They want us to hide. They don't want us to be together. They don't want us to seek each other's company. They don't want us to be rich and strong and grow together. They don't want us to be different. They want us to be like them. They want us to morph into something a little more palatable. But their palate stinks. To mix metaphors for a moment, don't shrink yourself down. Don't shrink in the face of Jew hatred. I know it's strong, but do not shrink. Don't shrink yourself down to make yourself more digestible. To them, let them choke. And the last thing that I'm not going to do The last thing I'm not going to change, besides my love of Judaism and my love of Jewish community, is my love. It's warmth, it's kindness, it's love. It's okay to be scared right now. It's okay to be angry right now. It's okay to be tired right now. I'm all those things in spades, just like you. But we can't let all of those feelings overwhelm our ability to love, to be kind, to find joy, because that's humanity. And those who hate us, they don't think we're human. And so they don't think we're deserving of human rights. They want us to bleed, if not literally, then emotionally and spiritually. They want to destroy our ability to feel warmth and joy and kindness, to give love and to feel loved. And those things are such a core part of being Jewish. Don't let their hate rob you of love. Love is going to be what gets us through this. That and our excellent security. You need both, is what I'm saying. You got to have both. And thank God we do. And so I'll say to our haters, because we know they watch, and as a reminder for all of you, for thousands of years since our birth, the children of Israel, the Jewish people, the people called Israel, we live. We take hits. We have always taken hits, and every hit is devastating. But we as a people, we live. And so now in this dark and difficult hour, a reminder to us all, Am Yisrael Chai, and Shabbat Shalom.